Hello there, welcome to Mariana on the Move. And today I wanted to do a video a little bit different. I wanted to have just like a conversation with some coffee. I want to do this once in a while just to talk about different topics, being an entrepreneur, some ideas that have really worked for me, also kind of what the experience has been running and doing and trying different hobbies. So I wanted to start this one specifically talking about qualities that you need as an entrepreneur. These qualities have been the ones that have really helped me, and I feel like I'm still working on them day to day. Before I continue, if you do like these kinds of videos and this content, please feel free to subscribe and to watch the weekly videos, give it a thumbs up, and follow me in this journey. So first of all, I wanted to explain a little bit what I do for work, like why is she talking about being an entrepreneur? I personally am an immigration and property lawyer. I'm also a certified real estate agent, and I have a company called Max Life Yucatan. We do process for foreigners moving to Mexico and just kind of helping them in all that section. And I also do the real estate part. So I started both of them from scratch. I deal a lot with a lot of the situations that most entrepreneurs go through, fears, stress, always looking for motivation to do things better for myself, for the employees, for the clients. And I think that I've always really have had a mind of wanting to be an entrepreneur. When I was like 16, I started selling cupcakes to an agency, a car agency. They used to give it to the clients when they bought a car. Then I started doing nails. Then, I started working doing some kind of marketing. Then I started working for a company, and then I started with Max Life, and now I'm starting with the real estate section. And I don't know, I've always have had the idea of making something better. If something is already good, I want it to be better. And that's maybe a topic for another blog. But I do have in my mind something that always pushes me to do something better. But anyway, now starting with point or quality number one. So, quality number one, and for me, the most important one is patience. And of course, the word and the quality patience is so broad, even just talking about business. But I would say, talking regarding two ramifications of patience when you're an entrepreneur is one, patience with the process of becoming an entrepreneur. What I mean by this is I've seen very closely people that have really good ideas. They have an idea, they started 3, 4, 5 months go by, even a year goes by, it doesn't work out, they move on to the next idea. Of course, there comes a time in a business where you really have to think, okay, is this business really working? Like, of course, I'm not going to be doing something that is not working, that people actually are not buying or service or whatever. But honestly, like many times, it's just the fear of this is not going to work out. So we really have to be patient for a business to grow and mature. A business is like a baby. A baby is not going to jump and go to university and do all these things like an adult does. It needs to start little by little. And we need to be very patient with our entrepreneurship or in our business. Instead of letting it go so easily, it's important to ask ourselves, what things are not permitting me to grow or this to be stable? Is it me? Is it my workers? Is it the system I have in place? Is it the marketing maybe? Etc. etc. If after all of that and you've really been patient, it doesn't work out, okay. But just hopping from business to business will never allow you to become a mature business person. you really need to be patient with the process. The other thing you need to be really patient with is clients. Now, it's not a surprise to anybody. Um, we are all very different. Okay. Everybody has a different perspective on life and what they expect. And at least in my line of business, I don't find that I really have to be that patient with clients, but I find it really hard to be patient with authority. I deal with a lot of bureaucracy, and sometimes I feel like people don't understand that. So I have to be very patient and understand. Don't take things personal, right? If a client is telling you something and you immediately feel it like an attack, it's good to ask yourself, like, what is their fear? Like, are they really wanting to attack me? Or is there something I could have done better? So, just that kind of helps out with being patient with them. With bureaucracy, I mean, things are like they are. I mean, I do try to help as much as I can with that being a little bit faster, but I try to be patient also with authority because I don't know in other parts of the world, but many of the people that work here in Mexico for bureaucracy don't get the resources they need. Sometimes they're not very paid very well. People are rude. So you also have to be very patient with everybody. And so that has been a lesson that has been tough to understand. But honestly, being patient and being kind is always the way to go. It helps you to enjoy your work, but it also helps you to express to others why they need to be patient, right? Because if we're not doing it ourselves, how are we telling our clients to be patient? So always being very clear and patient um, has helped me a lot. The next quality or point I want to talk about is understanding. Specifically, understand your business. And there's also two key points I want to talk about this. One thing is we expect that people understand what we do. I don't know if that makes sense. I hope you understand me. But I went through a networking group. Um, I was there for a year. And something I took from that networking group that we met each week was one of the leaders used to say, that's exactly. You think everybody understands what you do. And that's not true. It could be that if you fumigate or maybe you cut hair, people usually understand what you do. It's kind of obvious, right? But even in that sense, really, what do you do? And at least in my line of work, people used to always think, although I explained it a lot, that I used to help Mexicans go to other countries when it was totally the other way around. My line of business is helping people move to Mexico and enjoy and connect with their life here through a property, through a residency, through work. Okay. Why is this so important? Because the thing here is that if you do not know how to communicate what you do, imagine the people that work for you. Imagine the providers that work for you. So, for example, let's say that you hire a marketing company. Everything now is communication. If you don't know how to communicate what you do, there is a very big chance that the marketing strategy is not working. So it's really important to set base in what you do, but also what makes you different from other people. And that's the other aspect of know what you do, understand what you do. And that helps a lot with marketing. Something I've understood is that I don't have to talk bad about my competition. That's not how you do it. You need to separate yourself from others by communicating to people what benefits they have of hiring you. What makes you and your service better? What kind of problem do you solve? For example, in my case, I've learned that the problem I solve is I help people not to stress over moving to another country, making sure the legal side is taken care of. If you tell somebody, I help people with temporary residencies, they might say, cool. But if you say, I help alleviate the stress, it completely changes the perspective. And this, again, has helped me not just to know how to tell the marketing agency what I want, but also how to to make my process better. Because if really I want to be different and I want to help people to be stress free, then is my process really stress free? Am I understanding what I'm doing? I hope that this for me is one of the best points I've learned, at least from other people. And I hope it helps you too. The third point that has really helped me or quality is saving up. And of course, maybe if in this part of your life you are thinking about being an entrepreneur, um, definitely businesses take time. And maybe at the beginning, you won't be making enough to save up so much for the business. You might be really excited, you want to spend the money, maybe things are going good and you want to spend it. And I think that it's always nice to be able to spend that money that you're earning and just knowing you've earned it, right? I mean, it's hard work. Being an entrepreneur is not easy. But I've learned the hard way that it's really important financial wise to be saving up for anything that might happen that could be a block and that could stress you in the future. I once heard from a mentor, well, someone that does business, and they said that it's really important to save up as if you had a partner. And if you think about it, when you have a partner, normally everything goes 50-50. You might say, wow, that's a lot of money. Like, why would I save up half? But think about it. When months come that are hard and you really want, and you have that money saved up for emergencies, for paying your workers, for doing marketing, for a low month, think about COVID, right? Those people that saved up were the ones that were less stressed. So if you can save up as if you had a partner, that's great. If not, at least save up something. We don't even notice sometimes what things we spend on. And if you save, I don't know, $10 a week, it's something. The next point and the last point I want to talk about is kind of combined. It's called delegate and control. And this is a very hard part of being an entrepreneur and a business person, I feel like, especially when you like control. If you're a person that likes to have everything under control, giving that part or responsibility to other people might be very daunting. You might be scared that they don't take the same care as you do. Maybe you've already had the problem where you delegated and something didn't work out. But to be honest, if you want to grow as a business person, as an entrepreneur, you need to learn to delegate. So, something that has helped me a lot is to start giving them responsibilities little by little. So, don't just drop everything on the person and then go. No, you can still monitor, but do not solve everything for them. For me and my team, it helps a lot to have meetings once in a while. If you're starting to delegate to somebody else and just, certain tasks, make sure to have a day or have a time of the week or the day that you can check things together, that you can give each other feedback. And if something goes wrong, don't just blame the other person or total, okay, no, now it's never going to work out. No, remember that we all learn little by little. If the person is really trying their best and they're hardworking, give each other feedback. When something goes wrong, or something doesn't go as expected in the company, I always like to ask my workers or your it could be the person that is helping you right now. um, what went wrong? What could we do the next time to make this better? What system could we put into place to make sure this error doesn't happen again? And, you know, sometimes it's so funny that you think that you have good ideas, but when you get the feedback from this other person and their perspective, it's like, wow, I never thought about that. So we can always learn from other people. Of course, you're not going to connect well with everybody. That's why things are trial, error, and repeat again. But don't give up in delegating, because to grow, you need to delegate. Also, just start delegating things that, again, don't stress you that much, little by little, until your trust level goes up, and then you can start delegating bigger things. But even if you delegate big things, don't forget to supervise, because as an entrepreneur, there's nobody that's going to care more about your business than you. Hope these points resonated with you. Again, the points were patience, knowing your business, save up, delegate, and control. There's so many topics about entrepreneurship that I really love, and I would love to know your opinion on what of these points have helped you. And if you are thinking of being an entrepreneur, what has been your business idea or your dream of doing? Again, being an entrepreneur is not for everybody, and that's totally okay. No problem. Being an employee is also very good. Being an entrepreneur is good, but it has its pros and cons. But we'll talk about that in another video. For now, thank you so much for watching the video. If you like it, again, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and see you the next week. Bye bye.